Good morning and welcome back to Sonnet Institute of Technology. My name is Bruce Malaudzi and I'd like to welcome you to the Microsoft Security video course. In this particular video, I'll demonstrate on how you can gain unauthorized access to an existing Active Directory domain controller. As a matter of fact, a new server that needs to join to an existing Active Directory domain controller has to provide admin credentials, that is during authentication and authorization. So I would like to warn you before we dive further that this particular demonstration is meant for educational purposes. Illegal hacking or unauthorized access to computer resources or network is a criminal offense in most countries. So in this scenario, I have a Windows server, and with this server, it's a new server, and I would like to make this server join an existing Active Directory domain controller without providing any credentials. So I have tested this using server 2003. I've also tried server 2008, and I've tried server 2012, all R2s. So all these servers were authentic or actually joining an existing Active Directory domain controller that is being hosted by a Windows server 2012. So all three machines I've tested with have successfully gained full access to the Active Directory without providing any admin credentials, and all I need was the IP address of the Active Directory domain controller. So this IP address can be retrieved or can be you can get it from network scanning or port scanning. So in this particular demonstration, I'll be using Nmap utility, that is part of the tools found in Kali Linux. So without wasting time, let's test this theory and find out what we can conclude. So in this particular demonstration, I'll be primarily focusing on two Windows Server 2012. So one of the servers will be hosting the Active Directory, and the other server will act as a rogue server. So please note that these servers were installed straight from the box. So there were no updates installed, there were no patches installed. Neither of the servers have been hardened. Please take note of that. So in this lab we have 4 hosts, and these 4 hosts will participate in this part of exercise. I'll be using GNS3 as my platform, and my GNS3 will involve a router because I would like to have 2 networks. One network will be the company network, which is the inside network, and the other network will be the outside world, or you can call it the internet. That's where the attack will take place from. So if you can't use GNS3 to pull this kind of demo, you may use VMware, VirtualBox, or any other similar virtualization software. Just have to make sure that all 4 hosts belong to the same subnet for easy connectivity and simplicity. So in my case, I'll be using 2 networks because I'm using GNS3, and GNS3 can virtualize a router as well. So the 4 hosts I'll be using, the first host will be it's a server 2012, and this server belongs to the company mycompany.com, and the company subnet is that one there, and the default gateway is that. So the host name of this particular server will be server 01, and this server will be assigned that IP address. And then I'll need to configure a couple of users in the Active Directory. These test users, first user is Lisa Lopez, second user is Bruce Lee, third user is Bob Marley. And the second host will be a Windows XP, which will join the my company domain with the help of the domain administrator, which means if you don't have the domain administrator's password, you cannot join to the domain. So we will provide the administrator's credentials to join this host, this domain. So this host will be assigned a host name of WinXP01, and its IP address is 192.168.15.10, and we'll also configure with the local administrator or any user with administrative privileges. Third host is a Kali Linux, and I'll be using Kali Linux 2, which will be my port scanner and belongs to the subnet here, 10.10.10.0/24, and that's the default gateway. The Kali Linux will be assigned an IP of .2. The fourth host will be another server 2012. This server is our rogue server, which belongs to the outside world, and this server will actually try to, or will attempt to join the domain without providing any credentials. So the host name to this server will be rogue, and its IP address is a .254, and we'll only have one or two local users. In this case, I'll be using the local admin user. So without wasting time, let's move on. After the demonstration, you realize that this rogue server has managed to join to an existing Active Directory domain controller without providing any AD credentials, and we're therefore able to gain full access to the mycompany.com domain database, retrieving information such as client computers and users. So in conclusion, this is how you can easily it's an easy trick to pull off AD information without brute force or any other kind of hacks, and I think this is the easiest way. And secondly, our question is, how can we mitigate this kind of risk? So feel free to leave your comments with solutions, and then we will all put our solutions on the table, try to see which one is best as part of our learning curve. So please note that this is for educational purposes, and we would like to get solutions for the purposes of learning. So let's move on. Here in GNS3, I will drag and drop a couple of hosts. So this is the domain controller for the mycompany.com domain, and this will be our rogue host, and then I've got my Windows XP client that will join to that domain, and I've got this Linux host that will be used for testing purposes, and a Kali Linux box that I will use to scan the network or scan for open ports, and I will need 2 switches, and of course I'll need a gateway that will be my default router. So through the magic of editing, I will pause the video and come back when the topology is fully interconnected. Welcome back, and the topology looks like this. I've got the green zone, which is the inside zone that belongs to the mycompany.com domain. It belongs to the 192.168.15.0 subnet. Over here I've got the server 01, then I've got the WinXP01, that will be our client. This Windows XP will join to the domain. Then I've got a Linux client. I'll be using this for testing purposes, but it's not our primary objective. So moving on, I've got the two switches, and these switches are not configured with VLANs. Of course, I've got the default gateway that will interconnect these two networks. So on my right hand side, the orange side is the outside world that belongs to the 10.10.10.10.0 subnet with the /24, and the default gateway is a .1. The switch over here, and then I've got the server 2012 that will act as a rogue server, and of course I've got my Kali Linux that will be doing the port scanning or network scanning. It resides on the .2 network. Without wasting time, let me configure this router with interfaces, with IP addresses and stuff like that. So let me double check. That will be show IP interface brief. Okay, so the router is got its interfaces configured and everything is up. Okay, so I can exit from there. Now I need to test connectivity, so I'll be using this CentOS machine to ping all the possible hosts. So as a matter of fact, Windows 7 desktop or Windows Server 2008 do not respond to echo requests by default. So if you try to ping them, they won't respond to the ping request by default. So I'll be pinging Windows XP, which by default will respond to ping requests. I'll also ping the default gateway, ping the other default gateway, and then this side the rogue device won't respond by default, but Kali Linux will respond. So let's get started. So here I am on the CentOS machine, and let me minimize this window and bring this guy over here like this. Okay, let me do that. Okay, so I'll log in as root, and let me see if I have my network interface configured. So that will be Ethernet 0. So that will be IP address show device Ethernet 0. Okay, and it's not configured with an IP, so I would like to add one. That will be IP address add device Ethernet 0, and the IP address will be on the .20 /24. Okay, I need to configure the route as well, so that will be IP route default via 192.168.15.1. So now if I do IP address show device Ethernet 0. Okay, I do have an IP right there. Now let's check for my default gateway. That will be IP route show. Okay, I'm good to go. So now I'll start by pinging my default gateway. So I'll send 4 echo requests. I'll start with the default gateway. Okay, I do have connectivity. Now let me ping the Windows XP. that will be 192.168.15.10. I do have connectivity, and if I try to ping this server 01, it won't respond. Let's try. That will be 254. Oh, it's responding. Okay, so by default doesn't respond, so at least I have full connectivity. So let's go to the other network. Can I ping the curly box? That will be ping 4 packets. The curly box resides on the .2. Okay, I have full connectivity. Can I ping the rogue server? Ping 4 packets. The rogue server resides on the 10.10.10.254. Okay, so we have full connectivity, and let's get started. So what I'll do, this server, I'll create an active directory for this domain, because at the moment none is configured. So I'll configure one in the meantime. Okay, I can ignore that. Okay, so after configuring the active directory domain controller, I will add test users. So the users, remember, there is Lisa Lopez, there is Bruce Lee, and there is Bob Marley. So I don't have an active directory domain controller. As you can see on my left hand side, there is nothing. So I need to add one. Oh, there is one here. I have one. The roles were added, but there is no domain. So let's find out. Active directory users and computers, or I can go to domains. Okay, there are no domains, as you can see. If I go to users and computers, as you can see, there's nothing. That is why we're getting these errors. So let's create a forest tree. All I need to do is to click here on the yellow part here, and then promote this server to the domain controller. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so I'll say add new forest, and the forest name is mycompany.com. That's the domain name. Click next. I can click next as well. Oh, I need to provide the recovery password and confirm the password. Click next. Okay, you can ignore that error. Click next. Okay, click next as well. Right, you can leave that as default. Click next. You can click next again. Ignore these errors. Click install. Okay, so I'll leave this install from the background. Okay, so after the installation, the server will reboot. So this is the message saying I'm about to be signed off. So the server is rebooting. Okay, let me log on back to the server. So as you can see, my company domain, it's an indication that the domain controller is up and running. So let me log in as an administrator. Okay, the server is up and running. Now, here's the interesting part. If you install a domain controller and your Active Directory, you have DNS installed as a dependency. As you can see that we have DNS service running. So we will take advantage of DNS service to break into the system. So for now, the Active Directory is up and running. I just need to add 3 users. So I will go to tools, then I'll go to Active Directory users and computers. So here is my domain, mycompany.com. So I can click there and go to users. Under users, these are system users. They are there by default, so you might just ignore them. We need to add our custom users. So I will right click, go to new, then go to user. So my first user is Lisa. Surname or second name is Lopez. Login name will be lisa@mycompany.com. Uncheck that, we don't need it because it's a lab environment. Assign a password, confirm the password, click next. Okay, make sure your passwords match. Okay, click finish. Right click again, go to new user. The second user is Bruce Lee. So the first name is Bruce, second name is Lee. Login name is bruce@mycompany.com. Click next. Password, confirm password, and uncheck that, we don't need it. Click finish. My last user is Bob Marley, so go to new user, Bob, second name is Marley. Login name will be bob@mycompany.com. Uncheck that. Enter your secret password, confirm your password, click next, click finish. So we do have our users configured. Now I can close this. I need to add this machine to the domain. So this is how I will do it. Windows XP, I'll log in as an administrator. This is a local administrator for this machine. Okay, now I have to go to control panel. As you can see, I'm logged in as an administrator. Before I go to control panel, okay, let's go to control panel, users. So there's no other user configured on this machine. It's only the administrator, as you can see. So I can exit from there. Let's go to control panel again. We are going to join the domain. So I go to system, scroll down, system, computer name, change that. So the host name is fine because we assigned WinXP01. We need to change the domain. So our domain is mycompany.com. Press enter. or OK, click OK. This is the password that belongs to the domain administrator. So if we don't know the password or the username of the domain administrator, we are not able to add this Windows machine to the domain. So since we know the password, we can just, so administrator is the username, administrator, and the secret password. Okay, so this is a success. Welcome to the my company domain, mycompany.com domain. So we can click OK, so it means it's a success. If I move over, let me click OK. So whilst it's rebooting, I can close this window. So the Windows XP is rebooting. If I go back to the Windows server and go under computers, we now have the Windows XP 01. Okay, so I can close this window. I'll come back later. So let me confirm that this Windows XP is joined to the domain. So it is rebooted. So let me try to log on. So that will be that. Let me try to log on as a network user. So username will be my company. That is the domain. So it's my company / let's log in as Bob Marley. So that will be my company / Bob, and then enter Bob's password. Remember, this user Bob doesn't exist locally. It's on the Active Directory domain. Okay, so this user is successfully logged in. This is a sign that there is success. So I can minimize this window. I don't need it anymore. Now, let's see. Okay, yeah. So now we can go to, let's visit the port scanner. So we are on the other side and we're not sure which system to attack. So let me log in. So as we know that our target resides on the 192.168.15.0/24 subnet, we can do a port scanning against that subnet, and we are primarily focusing or targeting any system that has port 53 open and listening. So 53 is used by DNS server. So as you saw that Active Directory uses DNS as a dependency. So by default, when DNS is configured, we can actually bypass authorization and authentication. So remember that these servers are not hardened or patched. So we are using defaults. So I'll use Nmap to scan the network. So that will be Nmap. I'm specifically looking for port 53, and my network is 192.168.15.0/24. Okay. So anything that is port 53, then it means it might be running an Active Directory. So let the system scan. Okay, the system has finished scanning. The first host is the .1. Of course, we know that it's a root. Port 53 is closed. The second host is the .10. We know that it's a Windows XP. Port 53 is closed. Third host is a .20, and we know that it's a CentOS Linux machine. port 53 is closed. Finally, the fourth host is .254. We know that it's a Windows server running Active Directory. Port 53 is open. So this is our target, 192.168.15.254. Without wasting time, I'll close this window here. And now I know the IP address of my target. So now I can go to this rogue server, double click to log in. So I'll log in on my rogue server. Okay, you can ignore this message. Alright, so on my rogue server, I will change my settings. So under DNS, I will put in the IP address of my target machine. So let's go there. IPv4, I'll change my settings. So under DNS, I will put in the IP address of my target. That is 192.168.15.254. I can save that, and exit. So you can see that there is no DNS dependency here because this machine is not running an Active Directory. So if I go under Tools and go to Active Directory, Domains and Trust, you can see there's nothing. Right. So I'll show you the right way which administrators use, and then I'll show you the way we can bypass authentication. So the right way, what administrators do when joining the domain, they will click here and then click this yellow part on top there, and then click promote this server to a domain controller, and then they will select add domain controller to an existing domain. Okay, so you select the topmost part that says add domain controller to an existing domain, and then I'll type in the domain name. So that will be my company.com. And then, before I even proceed, can you see that it's at the bottom here, it's grayed out. I can't go next, I can't install. Why? Because I need to provide credentials. So assuming that we don't know the credentials, there's nothing we can do from here. We are doomed, so we can't proceed. So there's no way you can join the domain without providing credentials. So let's do the other way now. Let's break into the system because we're assuming that we don't know the credentials. So now we're gonna break in. So from here, I'll click Tools, and then click Active Directory, Domains and Trust, and then I can accept these error messages. We just have to ignore them. Then on here, I will right click and go to change forest. Now I will type in the forest, and the forest is our target Active Directory domain. So our target is mycompany.com, and I'll click OK. Now as you can see that the domain has been added, mycompany.com. Now I need to see what users are there and all the clients which are in the Active Directory database. So I'll right click and select manage. So a pop-up window, and then here is my Active Directory domain, which is mycompany.com. So as you can see, we have joined without providing any credentials at all. So this is a security risk, and we as the rogue hackers or rogue users, we have managed to join to this domain, and we can see all the information. So if I go under computers, you can see that Windows XP which we joined earlier on the mycompany.com domain. If you go to users, you can see those are the users which mycompany.com domain has. The first user is Bob Marley, second user is Bruce Lee, and third user Lisa Lopez, as you can see. So we have compromised the AD, and we can see all the users, we can see all the computers. If you want to, let's say for example the user Bob Marley and user Bruce Lee, we can export these users including the password hashes to the Kali box, and then we use Jack the Ripper to do offline password cracking. So basically this is. Can I add a new malicious user with administrative privileges? Yes, I can. So I go to under users, right click, new, scroll down, user. I will call this user first name Susan, second name Jackson, and login name will be Susan. Susan at mycompany.com. So I'll click next and enter the password which will be used by Susan. Repeat the password. Okay, I can uncheck that, it's not necessary. Click next, click finish. Scroll down, here is my user Susan Jackson. Right click, go to add to group and find the group we like to assign to the administrators. Remember, we are assuming that we don't know the password of the remote AD control. So the credentials which I'll enter here are for this rogue machine. As you can see, the domain is rogue. It's not my company. So I'll enter the local admin credentials. So that's administrator and the password. Remember, we don't know the password of the remote AD. Okay, so click OK and click OK again. So as you can see, the user has been added to the admin group. Right click or double click on the user Susan to double check. If you go to member off, you can see that Susan is the administrator. So we can click OK, click cancel, and we like to RDP from this rogue server to the mycompany.domain server. So that will be Microsoft Services Terminal. Sorry, my MSTSC. Okay, there we go. And our target machine is server 01, or I can just enter an IP address. Let me just enter the IP address of the target machine. That's 192.168.15.254, and then connect. Okay, so I will log in as Susan Jackson. So the domain is my company, and then username is Susan. So as you can see, the domain has changed to my company. The password, I'll enter Susan's password and click OK. So it's attempting to connect. Okay, it says certificate warning, and you can see that it's coming from server01.mycompany.com, as you can see there. So I just have to click yes. Okay, as you can see, the domain my company with Susan logging in, and Susan is logging in for the first time. So the server will run some initial configurations. Voila, Well, there we go. We are fully connected, and we have fully compromised the remote server. So if you go here, you can see that I'm logged in as Susan. Let me maximize this. Okay, so I'm at the command prompt and I've fully compromised the system, and you can see that I'm logged in as Susan. And if I do who am I, as you can see, I am logged in into the my company domain Active Directory server. So basically this is how you compromise the server using DNS and AD. It's easy to pull off, and we didn't have to brute force or try to guess the passwords. This is surely a security risk. I would like you to leave comments, and your comments will be valuable to us for educational purposes, and we would like to compile a list of access control measurements which can be placed so that we can select the best practice in securing the AD. And I hope this has been informative, and I would like to thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.